You know how I always mention to you guys that I'm still constantly improving and working on myself to this day, just like as we all should. But something that I pretty much came to the realization of and started to implement at this point, when you're seeing this, I probably be implementing this for a week, maybe a little more than that, because I record ahead of time. But being in a rush, this is something that I never really thought about because I always focused more on doing the good activities, doing the good habits, being productive, being mindful, doing all the right things. I never really thought about the pace at which I did them. There's a lot more time than you think. I made a video talking about a similar concept when I was referring towards my younger viewers when I said, if you're watching this, you're ahead of the game. But this concept of patience and having a lot more time should really be applied to everything in life. This is something I truly struggled with that I didn't even realize I struggled with. I was more so focused on doing everything on my to-do list and making sure it gets done. And because I was so productive and getting all the things on my to-do list done, I didn't really pay any mind to the pace at which I did things at. And it's really funny because I'm super into basketball, and if you know anything about basketball, pace is extremely important. It's good to play at a high pace, but when the game comes down to the line at the end of the game, usually the best players and the best teams slow the pace down and play like a half-court offense at a slower pace just to make sure they get the best quality shots. And I didn't really think about how I can implement that in my life because I was just focused on doing the right things and making sure I'm not wasting my time. But it's funny. You try so hard not to waste your time that you have time left over because you tried so hard not to waste your time. I try to rush through almost everything. You can even maybe notice this in some of my videos when I'm talking really, really fast and I don't even fully finish a phrase, which I'm trying to be more mindful of as I make more videos, where I would kind of assume the viewer knew what I was going to say, so I didn't fully finish the phrase. I would kind of cut that last word off and move on to the next thing. That's being in a rush. That's playing at a very high pace that is not necessarily good. It's a little reckless, like Russell Westbrook, if you know anything about that. But when speaking, when reading, I would kind of quickly read through the words instead of fully finishing every single one of them and understanding what every phrase meant word by word. When doing things, taking notes, I was just focused on, especially taking notes. I would get like a pen and a notepad and I would try to write things as fast as possible, kind of so to mimic, either when I'm hearing somebody talk or when I'm thinking in my head. Basically, I try to write as fast as I can speak, and that it doesn't work like that. It takes time to write words out, have the strokes of each single letter. So you have to take your time really writing if you want good handwriting and coherent handwriting. And I was never like that. I would just write at the fastest pace possible in order to quickly take notes down. And some of them were sloppy, like I didn't really register what I was writing. But I've slowed it down recently, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped me process things better, and it's kind of made me realize that we have a lot more time than we think. A lot of the times I would get all the things I needed to do, all the tasks on my to-do list, I would finish them and still have some time left over at the end of the day. And I would either start doing something for tomorrow's to-do list or kind of just chill and relax. And I never really thought about why I have so much time left over and what I can do to fill that time. And I realized that maybe I should just be more patient and spend more time on the activities I'm already doing. Maybe I'm rushing through some of these a little too fast, Not saying that I'm not getting anything out of them, but things like reading, maybe things like journaling, I would read really fast. I would journal really fast. And I didn't really associate that with being patient, because I always associated patience with, with people in relationships, being understanding, being patient with your success, your work. But I never really associated it with things like reading, writing, and just your overall day-to-day activities, which is crazy to me, because it all kind of clicks for me. I can just spend a little more time and just calm down, stop being in a state of hurry all the time. I know my brain works at 100 on go mode as soon as I'm in the flow state. And sometimes, while that is good, you kind of want to nurture that flow state and make sure you're really getting the most out of everything you're doing. And that's one of the biggest problems with me is I always want to finish things quick and do things as fast as possible. I pride myself on doing that. But at the same time, we want to make sure we savor these things and really take them in, absorb them 100%. And I think a big issue with why this happened is because we live in such a microwave society where literally almost anything we want is at the click of a button. You want food, you can order it to your house. You want an item, you can get it the next day on Amazon. You want to find something out on the internet, it's just a Google search away. Everything we do is in a microwave society instantly like that. So I think it subliminally taught me to do things as fast as possible, because the way technology works is as fast as possible. So I have to keep up with technology if I want to be successful. And that's not true. We have so much time that, especially in a day, I think I used to think about time as like, oh, we have so much time in the grand scheme of things, which we still do. I still truly believe that. But we have so much time in one day alone that we kind of don't realize it. We could do so much in a day if we just took time with everything and still fit everything in and get the most out of it. There's no reason to rush. You can do everything that you want to do in one day. Now, what I mean by that is any daily habit, any daily activity, or even activity that you want to do that day, you can probably squeeze all of that in one day. It kind of just depends on how early you wake up, your energy levels, your motivation levels, how assertive you are with taking action. But theoretically, you can fit a lot of stuff in one day and be fine. And I was always the guy that tried to fit in the most things possible into one day, and I was always in a rush when writing, reading, looking things up, trying to find information. I was always in a rush. It's okay to take time and kind of wander off in your research, wander off in your writing, wander off in your reading. Those aren't bad things. You don't have to rush them just to say you completed them. Take your time when you speak. These videos might start getting longer because I'm trying to make sure all the points that I want to get across, I fully emphasize. I don't want to keep doing that thing where I start talking and move on to the next point before I finish saying fully what I want to say. You may start to notice that in my videos, and I'm going to continue to improve on that, but that's something that I have noticed watching back a few of my videos is I won't finish phrases fully because I'll assume the viewer will know what I want to say. And usually they do know what I want to say, but I still would like to fully finish phrases because I don't think it sounds very clean when I speak like that, So this is going to have to take intentional effort. It's hard, especially for reading, writing, and speaking, things that you kind of do naturally. You have to slow your pace down a little bit. Take your time with things. Imagine it's the end. If you're a sports guy, an NBA guy, imagine it's the end of a game and you're trying to have the final possession of the game. What do? You kind of milk the shot clock, have everyone get into their set position on offense, kind of slowly. The screen comes to the ball handler, a few seconds into the shot clock, not really right away. The ball handler will be patient with the drop-off pass because they don't want to turn it over. This will make sense to a lot of my basketball guys and sports guys in general, but take your time. Have that end of game pace with your life. There is a lot of time to do things in a day, and you want to make sure you're getting 100% out of everything it is that you do. Trust me, I was always under the impression the more I do, the better, but sometimes it's okay to get less done and get more out of them. Something that I learned pretty recently again, and I'm going to try to implement this every single day. It's not going to be easy because I know my mind is going to get back into the mode where I just want to do things really quickly, but things like meditating, things like writing myself reminders, being aware of when I'm doing it is going to help me be at a better pace for longer and more of the time. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take something out of this. Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a hurry. You know, I'm definitely trying to slow it down and realize that those days when I knock everything off of my to-do list early is not really better, because I just have a bunch of air at the end of the day and say to myself occasionally, maybe I should have spent more time journaling. Maybe I should have spent more time reading. Maybe I should have spent longer in the gym. And now I'm going to make sure I get the max experience out of everything, as opposed to just, you know, making sure I did these things. Sometimes it's okay to reread things, rewrite things, get in an extra workout, take your time with things, stay longer at the gym than maybe you thought you would. You know, maybe you said you're going to the gym for an hour. It's okay that you're there for an hour 20. It's always better to take more time with things and make sure they're giving you the most benefit than to get more things done. And that is something that, again, with the self-improvement stuff, as great as I've been on it, is something that I've neglected. So again, just like you guys, I'm growing. I'm showing you guys I'm human, I'm vulnerable, and there's always room to improve for everybody. This is my room to improve right here. What a wonderful way life teaches you things without you realizing it, right? Anyway, there's another one passing by right now. You could hear it. So I'm going to end this video now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of y'all, and I'll see you on the next one. Bow!